Comics Plus. What is going on? Aka-san here. Are you ready for the most intense story in battle in the DCEU? From Warner Brothers, we present Shazam! Civil War. That's what's going on right now, guys. What's going on? We got a little bit of DC drama once again. A little bit of he said, she said type BS going on here. Where do I start? It's more interesting than the actual Shazam-verse movies, including Black Adam, of course, and Shazam 1 and 2. I guess by extension now, the Suicide Squad, or James Gunn's Suicide Squad. There's a lot of drama going on back and forth right now. As you guys probably know, Shazam opened up domestically to one of the lowest openings post-pandemic, outside of the pandemic, one of the lowest openings of a DCEU movie ever, was about 30 million something domestically or something, with a budget of $125 million. That is essentially a flop. Shazam underperforming, Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods underperforming here, and a lot of people have already come out to sort of talk about it. David Sandberg, the director of the movie, has already, while it was just during the weekend, he just kind of announced his retirement from doing superhero movies. He said he's pretty much done with the Shazam world. He wants to go back to doing horror movies, and who can blame him? Zachary Levi, Zachary Levi has come out and said a few things as well. He has, and then of course, by extension, an actual Shazam universe character, Black Adam, The Rock, has also been thrown into the mix in here as well. Because of course, a lot of people, Black Adam is by for the most part a Shazam-ish villain. In recent years has become kind of more of a anti-hero or protagonist or whatever. But, he literally, to transform, he literally needs to say Shazam. So there's always, comic book heads always know there's going to be a connection there. And we have already heard in the past that The Rock refused to be part of the Shazam movies. The Rock wanted his own movie. The Rock wanted something around his own world. And therefore, there were things that were restricted on the Shazam side of things, and then things that didn't really make sense on the Black Adam side of things, right? So one of those things is a post-credit scene now this is spoilers. If you haven't seen Shazam 2, you're probably not going to see it at this point. But, so spoilers, there is an end credit scene where Shazam is being recruited into the JSA, and members of those recruitment team is James Gunn's wife, Harcourt, I believe, and neckbeard guy from Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad. I forgot his name, but whatever. The neckbeard guy. They're making some cringy ass jokes, and it's blah blah blah, and they start talking with Shazam. And it's typical, I would say, Marvel fashion, but not funny. That's the thing. It was the kind of Peacemaker, and I alluded to this in my non-spoiler review, but it was the kind of humor and writing that I didn't like. That was out of Peacemaker, but I really didn't. It was cringy for me. Nevertheless, the Wrap confirms that Shazam, Fury of the Gods, the Justice Society from Black Adam were recruiting Shazam in the post-credits. The Rock denied access to David F. Sandberg, and David F. Sandberg had to make a last-minute decision to add in Amelia and John. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson attempted to restructure the DCEU, centering him in Henry Cavill's Superman. The Rock didn't allow Zachary Levi to cameo in a post-credit for Black Adam. Wow. So actually, there was supposed to be a post-credit scene in Black Adam featuring Zachary Levi. And what's more interesting about this particular thing is you see The Rock and Zachary Levi are tagged in this, and this post actually comes from Zachary Levi's official Twitter, Instagram. The truth shall set you free. So, so that's one little drama here. That's one little drama, and I am reading a few things here. One of the best comments I see right now is Zachary Levi didn't get to fight The Rock in the movie, so he's trying to fight him in real life. Now, takes this for what you will, because, it's a little bitterness, I think. I think Levi's a little stressed because his movie is flopping. This pretty much is probably it for his version of Shazam. Give or take what you will, like whether you like the movie or not. If you're a business person, it's the same thing I say for the Snyderverse, right? If it's not making money, there's no point in continuing it. Shazam, the first movie, while whatever, right, it still turned a profit, and it was enough for Warner Brothers to want to continue, I guess. But, same thing's going to be about Aquaman. I'll be very curious to see what happens with Aquaman 2. If it doesn't really make money, if it doesn't make the amount of money they're expecting anymore, why continue it, right? So Shazam, pretty much, if I'm WB, if I'm the new WB, I think you're pretty much done. I don't think they did a real great job of marketing it. I don't think there was a lot of awareness about both Shazam and Black Adam, for that matter. Whereas I believe there was a lot more marketing in Black Adam. I don't think enough people really care about that Black Adam character. At least with Shazam or Captain Marvel, there was kind of a connected story, and the good family story. There were kids in it, and they had a really good spin with. There was a movie that Tom Hanks made a long time ago called Big, and I forgot the full story of it, but it was basically like a kid who wished that he could become an adult, and he became Tom Hanks overnight, and it was this kind of back and forth sort of thing. Basically the plot of the Shazam movie, right? The first one. And I think they never really played that up enough, because I don't even think the general audience gets the fact that when Billy Batson transforms, he doesn't transform into another person. He's supposed to be transformed. He's supposed to be aging up. That's the whole point, right? Like, he's supposed to just be, the magic makes him an adult. He's not transforming into a person as Captain Marvel or Shazam or whatever, right? But I think the movies didn't actually do a great job explaining that, and then Zachary's portrayal of Captain Marvel / Shazam was so far different from Billy Batson, they basically felt disconnected. Zachary felt like a kid, was acting like a kid or whatever, where the actor who played Billy Batson, the young Billy Batson, was pretty serious and kind of looked like he had a lot of responsibility on him. So it was really weird. Like, there was such a disconnect there. Hence, a lot of people didn't even understand why Mary Marvel, when transforming, was the same person. Well, technically, because she became 18, she aged up out of the home, right? And so they were like, okay, it's easy enough to just basically have the same person now because she's an adult now. Just change the makeup a little bit. So, yeah, really weird. Really weird. Okay, so that's one bit of tea here for you guys. The second thing here, I already mentioned that the director is retiring and such. Here we go. A hit piece came out courtesy of the Hollywood Reporter, I believe. Is that the Hollywood Reporter? No. Okay. There we go. Black Adam's failure was fueled by Dwayne Johnson's ego, claims a Hollywood executive. Published by Jody Brown. A Hollywood executive blasts Black Adam star Dwayne Johnson for the DCU's film box office flop, claiming that his ego accelerated its failure. What? Black Adam star Dwayne Johnson continues to face backlash for the superhero film's box office failure, with one Hollywood executive claiming his ego is the reason it flopped. Is that Vin Diesel in the back writing this article? Per the Wrap, the executive pointed out Johnson perceived need to be the center of attention in his films as the biggest hamper of Black Adam's potential. Additionally, the high-ranking executive claimed Johnson too often makes himself the selling point of movies, which hurt their drawing power. Dwayne tries to sell himself as bigger than the movie, the anonymous executive said. He's one of the few people who always thinks he's the most important person in any situation or room. Now that's an interesting, we're going to pause there for a second because I'm going to ask you guys, the audience, the question. Do you think that's true? I mean, do you think that's actually fair though? And what I mean by that is, The Rock is the hardest working man in Hollywood, I believe. He's like, what is his thing? It's like he's the most paid actor right now in Hollywood. And he takes on the most projects all the time. He always has some sort of movie or something coming out, right? And I mean, if you're that dude, maybe that's true that everything should center around you. I get the idea that we want to believe in a dream world that people need to be humbled and be humble when working on these projects. But, you're going to say that about Tom Cruise? You're going to say that about, at the time, Arnold Schwarzenegger? Who else is out there making it? Keanu Reeves? I mean, we already know Keanu Reeves is humble as hell, right? But, if you're that draw, if you're the biggest guy out there, maybe it is all about you. Do I think that's the right attitude to go into a movie? No, of course not. But if you're the big draw, if you're the reason why people are coming to see this movie, there is kind of a little bit of push in there. For me, it's a huge turnoff. I just happened to see DC Super Pets last week finally, and I'm like, Jesus, this is pretty much all about The Rock, right? And for me, it was kind of hard to separate Crypto, and then especially the final scenes where literally The Rock is playing 3 people in one scene. Black Adam's dog, and then Crypto. It was so funny. But $7 Productions, Zoa, the tequila brand, he's a walking brand at this point. So to Johnson's credit, there you go, exactly. To Johnson's credit, he has garnered success for franchises he spearheads, such as the Jumanji film series alongside Kevin Hart, as Welcome to the Jungle and The Next Level grossed a combined $1.6 billion at the global box office. However, when he wasn't the main star of the franchise, like with the Fast and Furious series, he clashed with Vin Diesel, leading to his much publicized exit. Black Adam was highly touted going in, as Johnson played the, I don't know what that word is, eponymous ancient superhero, leading a star-studded cast for blah 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 blah. Black Adam made a respectable $393 million worldwide. Its budget reached $260 million, not including marketing cost. Okay, several potential reasons were offered for its flop, with many insiders accusing Johnson of using Black Adam to wield his power and organize a DC takeover. Warner Brothers executives were reportedly about Johnson leaking bad Black Adam profit info right and felt uneasy about his growing influence within DC. Meanwhile, DC Studios were unhappy with Johnson, constantly hyping up Cavill's return, knowing Cavill never had a contract in place, confirming his Superman return. Yes, I do think that is one thing to keep in mind. Cavill announced last December he was no longer playing Superman after DC Studios CEO James Gunn announced his upcoming Superman Legacy film would not feature the acclaimed British actor. Okay, days after Cavill's announcement, Gunn and Johnson announced Black Adam was out of the new look DCU, though both men remain open to working with each other in the future. Yeah, that's never going to work. Currently, the film boasts a mediocre 39% critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes, with many unconvinced by Johnson's performance. While the future of the Black Adam remains uncertain, Johnson has been promoting his upcoming Christmas film, Red One, which will air during the upcoming holiday season. Of course he's promoting that. Why would he do anything else, you know? Brahma Bull in a China shop. So I asked some of you guys on YouTube earlier today in the community section if you're not familiar with that. I highly recommend you check that out because sometimes I post about that. I was really curious what you guys think about, like, you know, because it's kind of a smear campaign coming up against The Rock. He's probably going to have to speak out on it sooner than later. But, you know, this has kind of been a rough sort of look for The Rock recently. So, the Red Dreaded Nation, what you have to say about this here on the community tab is like, I feel like this has been known for a while. I mean, this is the first time that people involved in the movie are blaming Johnson, but it's been well known that he was rejecting any and all Black Adam Shazam crossover ideas. Yes. When we said we wanted Shazam and Black Adam fight, this isn't what we meant. I swear WB has so much drama. That is very true. The Rock really thinks himself as a great actor all the time. He said he waited so long to release Black Adam and he gave us nothing but pure boring scenes, and the only good at Black Adam was Cavill cameo, right? He could at least consider putting Shazam on a cameo since these two characters have a connection in the stories, but no. Rock really pushing this Black Adam versus Superman or BA versus JSA like literally, he wanted DCEU to focus on his character. I'm so glad that Zazel rejected his idea because it's bad shit, and now I'm curious what Gunn's taking on the new DCEU. Here's the one. Well, I do think The Rock has some responsibility for not wanting to share the screen with Shazam. I believe it's ultimately Warner Brothers' fault for letting an actor take that much ownership over their character. They should have told him what needed to be done rather than being told what was going to happen. I think that is the clearest. I completely agree with this. And unfortunately, this is the thing you got to remember, that this is the old WB. This is the old head. This is the same reason why we're in so much mess with the Snyderverse and Zack Snyder, is because it's pretty much people that don't know how to run a business, how to make a cinematic universe, just basically leave it in the hands of other people. And then, to be fair, we're kind of seeing the same thing again with James Gunn. It's like, it's just that James Gunn at least has a better reputation and has some actual credentials to actually running a cinematic universe, that, you know, at least it's in some better hands. But we have seen this since the days of Nolan, post Nolan, is that WB is just like, okay, hey, can you do this? Here, we're just gonna give you a bunch of money. They give them the money, and they don't know they don't care. They just don't ask questions. They leave it up to directors and producers to make these things happen. And then when it doesn't work out, then they start blaming them. You know what I mean? So same thing with The Rock. It's just like, okay, well, The Rock is just popular, so we just want him to do something. You see this a lot, particularly with Warner Brothers, for whatever reason, is somebody will get some notoriety or somebody will get an Academy Award. Ben Affleck is a good example. And they try to keep them around. They try to keep them in-house for anything. and this is not rumor. This isn't speculation. This literally happens every time with the Warner Brothers. They're just like, hey, we want you to stay with Warner Brothers. Here, can you be Batman? Like that, right? With James Gunn. James Gunn was fired from Marvel. Warner Brothers came in like, here, we can give you what was it? 3 projects. It was either Super Pets, was it Superman? And then Suicide Squad. There's one, the third one, I don't remember what it was, but I remember James Gunn said that Warner Brothers gave him the choice of 3 different projects, and he went with Suicide Squad. So it's just like they're just giving, like they don't really, they're not. Yeah. Honestly, given how unknown both Shazam and Black Adam are to mainstream casual audiences, anything The Rock would have done barely affected much compared to the numerous factors that affected both of these film box office. I think that's the key point here, guys. Let me see if there's anything else here to that's pretty much yeah. Damn, you guys have a lot, dude. Bro, I'm tired of this. He said, she said bullshit. It's simple. Both Black Adam and Shazam 2 were not good. It's that simple. I don't know if it's that clear. I would say that Black Adam was mediocre at best. It was kind of mid. And it definitely looked like something. It definitely looked like it was made by somebody that just saw what Marvel was doing and exactly mixed a little bit of everything together, and they're like, fuck, let's just hope this works, throwing shit on the wall and see if it sticks. But I honestly would, I will stand on the hill of saying Shazam 2 was a fairly good movie. It was entertaining. It was cringy at times, but overall it didn't look like a shit show of like the storytelling. Little things, yes, were kind of weird or whatever, but overall it was a fairly well put together package of a movie. It just didn't catch the eye of many people, right? Yeah, I have little problems with the like how Billy Batson is supposed to be, but in Zachary Levi's portrayal of Shazam, or Captain Marvel, but overall I thought it worked really well. And Mary Marvel is hot as fuck, so anyways, I think that's it. Did it not look like BVS? Right, exactly. I mean, if Marvel is going to keep putting mediocre sequels to Thor and Ant-Man, why not make Black Adam 2? Just let The Rock use his production company to finance and make the film, because then it will never get made. Like, just because The Rock has money, like, he's not going to continue doing pet projects like that. Like, all of these studios, like, you got to remember, like, all of these places, it's coming from different investors, right? So that's like the same. It's like the same idea of like selling the Snyderverse to Netflix or something like that. Who would want to invest in that? That's the thing. Looking at the previous numbers, it's not like you're getting a banger. You're not getting a banger it's not going to just make instant money. No matter what Twitter tells you, these things don't just make instant money on their own like that, I'd watch Black Adam again before I watch Shazam 2. Interesting. Okay. Very interesting. All right, guys, that is it. That's just the DC drama. There's not tea. Your DC tea for today. Sorry the video went a little long here, but let me know what you guys think. Red Reddit Nation, stand up, speak up. What do you feel about this whole situation? Do you think should The Rock just continue to be quiet, not say anything, and just go on and promote whatever his movie of the season is, his brand or whatever? Do you think Zachary Levi is being petty a bit? Is he a little butthurt that his movie is flopping? You know, the one thing I will leave you, my final thought on this whole situation is, regardless of the fact that I was entertained by Shazam 2, I think this is more than enough indication that James Gunn really needs to reboot everything. Everything. I don't think there's any saving the Shazam franchise, the DCEU version of it. I don't think they should be kind of sparing, picking and choosing, right? Shazam 2's flop basically just reassures me as a business person or whatever. If I'm DC, if I'm Warner Brothers and I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, the audience ain't ready for this. The audience isn't really that interested in the Shazam family at this moment and time. You know, they basically kept going through the motions, assuming that they were going to get a garnering fans that were going to fuel these things like Marvel, but even Marvel is struggling right now to keep those same kind of fans and commitment around. I think it's time to kind of put the nail in the coffin for the entire DCEU, and that includes the whole Suicide Squad. Gal Gadot, I've mentioned this on Twitch. I think I've given her more than enough chances at this point. She's been in like 5 movies at this point. 5. She's played Wonder Woman 5 times now, and I haven't really seen any improvement in terms of her portrayal, her acting ability, things like that. People don't really like when I say that, but I have nothing against Gal. I think there was a movie that I liked her in or whatever. When she's doing like Saturday Night Live stuff, when she's doing sketch comedy, whatever, when she's doing stuff that works to her benefit, I think it's fine. But just her as Wonder Woman, for me, is not clicking at all. She looks like she's falling asleep, dude. I don't know what it is, but I'm done with. I don't think we need to kind of savor anything else. Aquaman, probably not going to do so well. Aquaman 2, probably not going to do so well. Jason, I think, is also getting up there in age, and I think the last thing he really wants to continue doing so much is hardcore working out right now, especially the older he's getting. And particularly for me personally, the whole Peacemaker crew, the Suicide Squad crew, the hardcore, all those people, we're good, dude. Amanda Waller, if anybody survives anything, it'd be Amanda Waller. Viola Davis, that'd be it. But honestly speaking, I think it's just better to just we don't need any more connections to anything connecting to anything else. I'm down with a full-fledged reboot at this point because there's just so much animosity. And David, the director of Shazam, talked about this. There's so much animosity and poisonous, venomous discourse on Twitter within the superhero reign that it's just all cynical. Like, it's not fun anymore. We're going in with our hands crossed opening day for movies at this point, when we used to go in with our hands open and ready to receive some hype, some excitement like that. You know, every time I go to the theater with DC son, back in the day, he used to ask me every time, what are you looking forward to? What are you excited about? Like, hey, what part are you excited about that? And we used to have these like pre-game sort of conversations, right? And we used to leave super hyped, like, yo, I can't wait till this happens, blah, blah, blah. Now it's just a chore at this point. Like, I still remember around that moment when he started asking me this question. I'm like, I just asked him. I told him, bro, don't ask me anymore. Like, I don't really care at this point. I just want a good movie. I just want to be excited like that. And we go into the theater sort of mediocre, right? We're leaving even more kind of like, meh, like that. So something really has to change on both Marvel and DC's side. we can make if you guys want, I can make a video about Marvel later, about how bored I am about with the MCU right now. But yeah, particularly with the DCU, we need a full-fledged reset. I don't want to hear anything about Snyderverse anymore. I don't want to hear anything about any remains of the DCEU. Reboot! We'll talk to you on the next one, guys. I'm out. Peace.